Yo, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's Oscar and we're back again with another video. Today we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna be talking about my, I guess, 6 favorite chips in my collection currently. They range from, let's say like maybe $60 chip all the way up to a couple hundred, maybe. One is even, I think, a Z1 in the chip rack book, but most of you probably know that one. I made a video about that one. It's this sneak joint video that I actually found at a antique mall here in Vegas, but let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna break this down, talk about each chip one by one, and hopefully not go on for too long, but let's kind of get into it. So to make this kind of easy, I'm gonna put pictures of the chip on the screen, I guess, while I talk. Maybe that'll be the easiest way. But number one is gonna be the Desert in 1K that I have here. Obviously it'll be a little bit easier to see on the screen, but Desert in 1K, it's not a chip you see often. I think I've seen 1 or 2 on eBay before. I've seen, apart from the one that I have, I think one or two other ones in person. So it's definitely a rare chip. It's a really early age, high denomination chip, which you didn't see much. And it was kind of surprising. So obviously it's a $1,000 Desert In chip with the, I guess we could say, the Joshua Tree. It's a Paulson chip. I think it was made right at the verge of Christian Jones and Paulson basically, or Paulson buying Christian Jones. But like I said, not a chip you see often. I don't know the actual book value of the chip. I know it's definitely in the hundreds, multi-hundreds. But as far as, you know, value, as far as that, I think the one that was listed on eBay or something was somewhere around 500 or 600, I think. I didn't pay anywhere close to that. I paid somewhere around half of that, 300. So I think I paid a pretty good price. Obviously, it is like I said, it's a chip you don't see often. It was made at the verge of kind of Christian Jones and Paulson kind of either merging or Paulson buying Christian Jones. I don't know. It's an early, I guess we could say late 60s, mid 60s, early high denom chip. I have no idea how many of them were made. I do know that there are quite a few people, especially on PCF, on chipboard, and all over the collecting world, that do think that the DI-1000 is one of the nicest, I guess we could say nicest Vegas chips ever made. It's an interesting dark blue, kind of purplish chip with these 3 gray, blue, and red edge spots. And I don't know, it's a really nice looking chip in my opinion. So that is number 1 on the list. Next one we're going to talk about is the Desert Sands Cabazon 100. Probably one of the most unique hot stamped TRKs that are out there. Definitely don't see this one often either. I don't think I've ever, I don't want to say this, but I've never seen it in quantity. I kind of hope I never do. The Desert Sands Cabazon, like the 1s and 5s that I have, are extremely hard to find for some reason. The quantity that I have of those chips, I was able to find luckily from one single person, but finding more after that, I think I've been able to find maybe 3 or 4 of the 5s, and I've seen a few of the 1s, but the 1s have gone like 15 or 20 bucks or somewhere around there. I kind of don't want to pay that price for singles if I'm gonna get them in quantity. But the 1s and 5s that I do have, I'm extremely grateful to have them. This $100 chip was actually sent to me by a gift from a buddy of mine on PCF. So I'm really thankful for that. I was not expecting to get that at all, but somehow he kind of sent me a tracking number. He said goodies are on the way. Next thing you know, I opened up the package and it was just sitting there. I was like, dude, what is this guy doing? Hopefully, hopefully I'll be able to repay him back in some way in the future. But it's got to be one of the most interesting hot stamp TRKs in the world. It's a quarter pie, red base, white, and black. Usually you see quarter pies on the inlay chips, not hot stamp chips. So Desert Sands Cabazon 100 is definitely, it's up there as one of my favorites. Absolutely beautiful looking chip. Again, I have no idea really about value. I think there was maybe one or two of them at the summer June show, the CCA show, for maybe 150 a piece, but I have no idea as far as value goes. So that is number 2 on the list right now. Next one, and my pride and joy chip. Many of you know it's my picture on PCF. It is, I've talked about this chip many times before. It's the Nevada Club 20. Probably one of the most unique inlay TRKs that was ever made. It's like an 8 pie compared to a quarter pie. It's an 8 pie chip, 2 black, 2 white, 2 purple, 2 yellow, on top of being an odd denomination $20 chip, made in, I think it was 1959, so late 50s. And I don't know, it's the stuff that came out of Reno and Lake Tahoe at the time. I have no idea if it was Lincoln Fitzgerald's designing these chips by himself, or whoever was the designer at the time working for that guy and working for these casinos did, like I was saying, whoever did the designing or the designing and manufacturing or customizing of the chips at the time in the late 50s, early 60s in Reno, Lake Tahoe area for Nevada Club, Nevada Lodge. Whoever that was, I wish I could give them a big high five, fist bump, handshake, whatever it is. They came up with some of the sickest looking chips in that era. Chips you don't see nowadays. The chips we see done nowadays are absolutely, they're like many tiers below what was made back then. So Nevada Club 20, like I said, on top of being an 8 pie, on top of being an odd denomination chip, on top of being just a hard chip to find in general, it's definitely number 1 on my all-time favorite lists. But it's a chip I'll never be able to sell, I don't think. Hopefully I could get a few more in my lifetime, and not pay, $300 a chip, what they were, some $200, $300 a chip, what some of them were going on eBay, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Nevada Lodge 1000. It's a quarter pie, saw blade inlay, $1,000, like again, late 50s, kind of early 60s, high denomination, $1,000 chip. Chips you don't see often. A chip that's rarely ever seen in quantity. I think I've maybe only seen 1 rack of them. I have no idea how many chips were made. 1 rack, 2 rack, however many racks. All I know is that I've definitely seen 1 rack. I know one person who has 1 rack of them. And I don't know, it's a simple looking chip, but it's very straight to the point, and definitely one that I'm sure collectors around the world, if you don't have one, I highly suggest any of these chips I'm showing, I highly suggest you try and pick them up. They're chips that are not only going to go up in value, they're chips that are beautiful, chips that have history, chips that are sought after, chips that, it's just an overall great set of chips. So Nevada Lodge 1000 follows the Nevada Club 20, obviously being one of the nicest or nicer TRKs in the world. Don't see them too often. From what I know, there's 1 rack. I have no idea if there's more, but it's just a beautiful saw blade inlay, quarter pie, $1,000 chip from the late 50s, early 60s in Reno and Lake Tahoe. That time of Reno and Lake Tahoe, they were on a different level, because that place was Vegas before Vegas. So big ups to Nevada Lodge 1000. That is number 4 on our list. Next chip we're going to talk about is the Sneak Joint 1, which is the, I guess the antique mall find that I did. Was it last summer? It was last summer, actually, because it was before the CCA show. I remember that. Sneak Joint 1. I picked this chip up, I think in the video it was like $150, $125 or something like that. If I remember, I had no idea what the actual value was, let's say book value, until I actually got to work, where I looked at the chip rack guide, and I think it said it was a Z1. I kind of sat there and I looked at that value, and I was a little flabbergasted, I guess we could say. You know, obviously I just paid like a tenth of the price for what the chip was actually worth in that book. But I think in the video I did show the last two that I found sold in the last year or so, whatever it was. I think one sold for, was it the high 300s, and one sold, I think, I want to say mid 500s if I remember correctly. But I think I paid somewhere around 125, 150. I remember walking in that day to that antique mall. I said I wasn't going to buy anything. I was just going to look around. And the next thing you know, I ended up buying, probably it was 180. I ended up spending, I have the receipt right there. I ended up spending like 180 bucks. Majority of it was this sneak joint chip. Like I said, I think it was 125 or so, whatever it was for the chip. Definitely a good swoop on my end. And it's a chip that I'll never forget. Like I said, I walked in there saying I wasn't gonna buy anything. Next thing you know, I ended up walking out there with that chip along with a few other chips, bunch of decks, and a bunch of other goodies. So overall, that find, definitely one of the most memorable chip finds that I've had so far in the couple years that I've been collecting chips. Definitely one of the most unique ones, I could say, because I actually went to a mall or shop in person and got it instead of, let's say, eBay or PCF or whatever it is, and got to, you know, physically first person see it before I bought it, and it was just an overall great experience, one that I'll never forget. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the Mapes 100. Definitely another chip, another TRK that is on the books or on the list of chips that most people want to get, especially if they don't have a Mapes chip. If they're trying to collect Mapes TRK sample set or something along those lines, Mapes TRK is up there as another one of these harder to get TRKs. Yeah, I've seen one or two racks of them, but they're definitely not for sale. I know who the person is who has them, but like I said, they're not for sale. I'm sure if you really searched online, you could find pictures of that rack. But knowing that the quantity is out there and they're not for sale is definitely going to keep the price high. I remember looking years ago, well, not years ago, but let's say a couple months ago before I bought this one from a good buddy of mine. I was looking at the, you know, what the Mapes 100 used to sell for years ago. It was only like a $30 or $40 chip. Let alone there was only, I have no idea how much quantity was out there at that time, but all that TRK stuff, all that Mapes stuff has skyrocketed in price. Mapes 5s and 25s used to sell for like a couple bucks a chip. Now Mapes 25s are selling for what, $30, $40 a chip. Mapes 5s are selling as high as $20 to $25 a chip. It's absolutely crazy, but the whole history and everything behind the Mapes just makes it absolutely incredible. It's kind of a unique looking tri-moon because it doesn't have the same color spots going all the way around. 3 different edge spots, 1 solid color base. And I don't know, the Mapes stuff to me has always been all like historical. They're absolutely amazing chips. The orange 5s and the turquoise 25s, all in amazing condition. I've never seen a used one of those. I have seen used ones, canceled ones, but never the 5s, 25s, or 100s. Those things are all, they're all really nice. So Mapes 5 definitely has to join the group of my most favorite chips. I'm sure it's probably one of the most favorite chips of a lot of people in the world that have them, but definitely one to, like I said, all these chips are chips you want to get. They're highly sought after, chips you don't see often, and when you do, they're probably sold right away because there's always people looking for them. So that is my, I guess, 6 favorite chips, my favorite chips at the moment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have any comments or you want to share which one of these is your favorite, or let's say you have a favorite chip in your collection, go ahead and put that down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video at any time, please drop a like. If you have any comments, put those down below. Like I said, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.